Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast in history.
Yeah.
Weakness compels strength. Betrayal begets blood. Shoddy filmmaking compels roasting. This is the law of Bad Movies Rule. Let's go.
I'm ready for this.
You feel prepared?
I feel prepared. I have a serious case of deja vu going on.
Hey, you know what, guys? I'm excited that you guys are here. We're here to talk about Ninja Assassin from 2009. And we've got a brand new person in the studio with us today, Joe Bernhardt.
Yep.
How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here.
I bet you are.
Yeah, big fan of the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Joe and I have known each other for a few years now, been working together, and finally, we've had an opportunity to get you in here and talk about this movie that you brought to us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Ninja Assassin.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm happy or not about this. This
Was
conversation, I'm hoping, will help me decide.
This is a new one for you?
This is a new one for me, yes.
Not normally in your wheelhouse?
No, ninja movies are not my genre. The only other, in fact, I didn't even know if ninjas were like Japanese or Chinese, like kung fu stuff.
They're Japanese for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
So
You did watch American Ninja, so that counts.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure how much ninja work was going on in that movie.
No ninjas, I think as Clint said, were actually harmed in that movie because there weren't any.
They did wear similar outfits. I would guess that's true. I should have known. But
They
see,
did.
well, that's American. That's confusing. Is that like Western?
No. Michael Dudikoff.
These
I don't
ninjas
know.
were very different than those ninjas.
In a way, yes. And in ways, they were the same.
Yes, true.
Right?
They all wore
people.
black this time though.
This is true. They're not the different colors and all of that.
That's true.
But, before I even get any further, as you can tell, Mr. Charles Hewitt is also in the studio.
I am
Charles,
here again, yes.
welcome back again.
happy
And we
and
only got
honored to be
3 in the
here.
booth today.
I got 3.
They have an empty chair next to us because, as Joe said once on a mailbag episode, there can only be 2 Joes,
2 Joes. We got one.
but not in the same room, apparently.
Yeah.
Joe was supposed to join us.
I have a Highlander effect, I guess.
I guess so. So when one Joe found out there was going to be another Joe, he wasn't able to make it this morning. So we're going to run with 3, but it's going to be fine because we're getting to talk about a movie that's, I think it's a good juxtaposition from our last Ninja movie to this one, even though I think you had told me yesterday, you think like Michael Dudikoff and the main character here
Yes.
went to the same school of acting.
Well, yes, I'm confused. I'm confused about how ninjas are supposed to be in their how they carry their person, because there seems some similarities between Dudikoff's performance as a ninja and this guy Rain's performances.
That's very offensive to Rain. And I don't know if they're on equal footing necessarily.
I would probably agree with that.
But we'll see. But before we dive into the vitals, just want to say to everybody listening, thank you for listening. We appreciate that you're here with us. If you could do us a favor, it really helps the show. Whatever podcast app that you use to listen to us, if it allows you to leave a review, leave us a 5-star review. It helps push us out to more people. If you don't think we were worth a 5-star review, don't leave one. Instead, send your bad review to us directly at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. We recognize we're one of the worst movie podcasts ever. We'd love to read your review on one of our mailbag episodes. So it's thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. And also, as of last episode, we had our 50th. Now we're making that march towards episode 100 with episode 51 today. We've launched our new Patreon. And so if you are so inclined, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/badmoviesrule. There's all kinds of bonus content, bonus episodes, bonus recordings, polls you can vote on, future episodes, all those things you can do if you join us on there. And we would just greatly appreciate that as we make the push towards getting our own studio and a nice setup and a better video capability than a camera on a stick in the corner of the room.
Decorations.
Being able to hang my Cool as Ice poster up behind me. Come on.
You should just buy posters from like every movie you've done.
That's what I'm saying,
This
right?
is maybe an interesting question. Maybe at the end of every podcast now you should ask, should we own the poster of it?
Oh, and find a way to get it in there?
Include it somehow.
Could try.
If you guys have any posters from these movies.
If you got an
send it
American
in.
Ninja poster laying around you want to help out with.
Don't do that to me.
Oh, come on. You know, it's a pretty neat poster. You know you want a ninja
Email the
lurking
show.
behind you all the time.
You're right. I do.
Email the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com.
Please, I want to look over my shoulder every episode and see Dudikoff right there. At least I can. Every time we talk about the trash can full of dirt, I can reference him, right, and say, "And here he is."
Yeah,
right here.
You can have
You could mount
that
it
poster
over a
right.
trash can, too.
You can have that poster right next to the Spy Hard poster.
That's right.
There you go.
Here's old Flathead Joe. Right next to Spy Hard. Would be awesome. Well, look, let's jump into the vitals for this really quick, and then I want to get your impressions of the movie because, Joe, I know you've seen this before. Charles hasn't. I'm excited to talk about it. The movie was directed by James McTeague, who,
Teague.
yes,
Cool name, I thought.
it is a cool name. He was hired by the Wachowskis, who also produced V for Vendetta, which is the other movie that James Teague. Did you ever see V for Vendetta?
I did not see V.
I did.
You
Yeah.
did it, yeah. Based off a graphic novel, highly stylized, kind of very similar to the style of Ninja Assassin in that way. And the Wachowskis actually made this movie because they were so impressed with Rain, the main character's performance in Speed Racer, which was another one of
I
their
never saw
movies.
Speed Racer either.
Yeah, so
I liked that movie too, but I also
I
watched
was
it as a child.
surprised
Yeah,
that Wachowskis were in this because they did Matrix too, right?
they did The Matrix. Yep,
So that surprised me that big a name was connected with this.
Yeah, I was so I went in clean and didn't know any of it. I didn't know Wachowskis were part of it or anything until after the fact when I saw the end credits, and then it all started to make more sense when I saw, oh, he directed it, oh, they produced it. I was like, oh, it's all clicking together for me now. Yeah. It was written by Matthew Sand, who also wrote Deepwater Horizon, and J. Michael Straczynski, who is a famed comic book writer. He had some runs on Avengers and Fantastic Four and Thor, and I just love this guy. So,
And did you say V for Vendetta was a graphic novel?
yes, it was.
Okay,
It was. And they actually brought in Michael Straczynski after they were just not thrilled with Matthew Sand's first draft. And so he came in and kind of reworked the whole
Comic
thing.
bookified it.
He did.
I think he did a pretty good job
Yeah.
at doing that.
No, I agree. Well, now you've got, is it starting to make sense? A comic book
Yes.
writer, the director that, has got that visual style, the Wachowskis, all of that, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. Starred a guy named Rain.
Rain.
And that's it. That's his whole name.
Yep.
Rain.
Who,
He's a K-pop star.
right, which I didn't know at first.
I don't know what K-pop is really. I mean, I do because my daughter's.
It stands for
I only
Korean
have one daughter.
pop.
Let me clarify. I only have one daughter.
Okay. Is she into
daughter-
K-pop?
A little bit because her friends are.
Gotcha.
But not a whole lot. I don't
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I love watching Korean dramas on.
Oh, do you? I've
Yes.
seen some.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I've never been brave enough to watch one.
Yeah, I love them. So
So
I
it was,
watch-
was Parasite Korean?
yes.
That's the only Korean movie I think I've seen was Parasite.
Okay.
But that was good.
Oh yeah,
I liked it.
It was good. It gave me
That's-
nightmares.
See, I didn't know about that.
Gave you nightmares.
I just
Yeah.
learned something about you, Joe.
I've
What?
never watched.
That you're into
this.
Korean
Oh.
dramas. I didn't
yeah.
know that. Okay. Also starred a guy named Rick Yoon, Naomi Harris, who you might know from 28 Days Later. She was a Bond girl. She was in Skyfall, and she was in Moonlight. And then this is the one I was most excited to see was Sho Kasugi was in it. He was Ozunu, or we'll just call him Dad Ninja.
Dad Ninja.
Dad
right?
Ninja.
He was from the old school, like those crummy Canon Pictures ninja movies, like Enter the Ninja and Ninja 3, The Domination, and all of that. So I just think it's cool that he got to be in those really terrible ones, like from a production value standpoint. It looked like they were $10 budgets, and now he got to be in this.
So if you're into ninja movies, you would know that guy possibly.
Oh,
Yes.
And it's like a callback to history. So it's like the '80s guys in Stranger Things. You bring
Yeah,
them in,
no, yeah,
it
you're right.
connects, and it makes you.
Exactly. It almost like legitimizes it as
Okay.
in the lineage of ninja films.
Yeah.
And we should mention the Jun Lee guy is like a protege. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah.
A protege of Rain.
Yeah, he's also a K-pop star.
He's a K-pop star with the band. I just looked at this.
So the guy that played younger Rizzo.
Yes.
Am I saying his name right?
Yeah,
Rizzo?
Rizzo.
Rizzo.
He's in the group MBLAQ.
Okay, what does that stand
I
for?
don't have a
They just like
MBLAQ?
they like using American.
My
letters.
band likes.
It's a boy band, part of the boy band MBALAQ. Oh, sorry, I actually added an A there.
My band likes a quack.
Probably something cool in Korean.
Something cool in Korean. Okay, well that's cool. Also, so the budget for this movie was $40 million, which sounds like a lot compared to the movies we usually talk about. But we usually talk about like 80s movies. This is not an 80s movie.
No.
This is almost as deep into the timeline as we've traveled.
Yep.
Yeah, 2009, right?
2009, which 2010 Scott Pilgrim
That's
would be.
okay, because there's no more bad movies made after, 2000.
That's not true. I'm sure we're going to find. I think Velocipaster came out in the last 10
that's
years.
on one of my movie watching lists.
That one keeps popping up on my Amazon.
If I'm in that podcast, can we do it before it goes off of one of those free shows?
You don't want to pay. You don't want to pay money for Velocipaster?
No, I don't think so. Although, I love the title, but I hate dinosaurs, so I'm torn. Like, I don't know which way to go with that.
Yeah, and that's actually funny is this movie was on Netflix until literally a couple weeks before.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man, I could have got it for free. I had to pay like $4 for this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't think it was worth $4?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see by the end.
Box office was $61 million, but when you take half away to give to the movie theaters, it comes in under the budget. So not a box office success. As far as the bona fides for being on this podcast, that's strike number one.
Yeah.
It's currently sitting at a 6.3 on IMDb, which is right in that borderline
That surprises
range.
me it's that high.
You think it's too high?
I do think it's a little high.
Okay. And
Well,
because anything from like 6.0 to 6.4 tends to be borderline.
I guess that's true. I guess you get the
could
fives.
be good.
It's probably
It's usually probably not great.
It seems high in comparison to other numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes currently.
That seems low to me.
Okay, so you feel like it should be somewhere in between those two.
I think so, yeah.
And a 54% audience score. So
that probably seems a little more accurate.
All right, so let's hear it, guys. I almost went to you. We're gonna. So let's hear it, guys. Joe, let's start with you because you brought this movie to us. You brought it on a tray, an offering, so to speak.
Yeah.
To Bad Movies Rule.
Through text and email.
Through text and email. Why is it Ninja Assassin? What do you want to talk about this for?
This movie came into my life a couple years ago. I was still dating my current wife, and we were just on a martial arts movie kick, and we were just going through Netflix, and there it was, and we're like, all right, we're going to watch this. We don't care if it's
So can I just say, you have a good woman when she's willing to watch martial arts movies. My dear wife, one of the reasons I love her for many is that she loves action movies.
See, that's awesome.
So
and just add that to the list of the many reasons why Alyssa is awesome.
Yeah.
And Melissa too. Yep. They both of the Alyssas are great.
My wife has never made me watch a cheesy romance movie.
Not once?
Not once.
Has Alyssa ever made you?
Nope.
So
winning.
Yep. Yeah.
My wife hasn't made me either. So
she watches them on her own, but she doesn't make me watch.
She saves those to watch with her mom because her mom doesn't like any type of action or anything.
I like watching those with my wife because she tends to just roast those kind of movies. Like she's not like a sappy movie person. So I think we all did a great job, guys.
Yeah.
Pats on our backs.
That's right.
Or really the other way around. All right, cool. So what was it about Ninja? So you love the movie. I'm assuming you're a fan of it.
Yeah.
What is it about it you like so much?
It's funny because it's like I say I love this movie, but it's hard to describe why. But it's like I watch it and I feel like I notice something new every time I watch it. There's parts of it where
really you think there's depth to this movie?
I don't know about that, but it's it's more like
there's lots to discover.
I mean, there are a lot of things going on around. So
no, it's more like I first watched the movie like 2 years ago or whatever, and then I put it on this time. I'm like, oh, geez, I forgot that this happens, or I forgot.
You forgot that many arms flew off.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So was this only your second time seeing it then?
Yeah, it was my second time.
All
but
right.
I will definitely
You going to buy it, you think, now that it's off of Netflix?
We'll see. If it goes on sale.
You know you want to. Charles?
I feel like watching this movie was a little bit like, and I've never seen one of these, but the phrase is a train crash. So like I watched the whole movie with interest, but I'm unsure. As I was coming in, I was thinking about it, and I watched it a couple nights ago. Did I watch this movie because I just kind of wanted to see how it all came together because it was such a strange and horrific thing, or if it was actually sort of enjoyable and had elements that I was like, I kind of want to see how this turns out.
And you haven't made up your mind yet?
I haven't completely made up my mind yet on that.
So I'm interested then to see by the end if you've decided you like it or not.
Yeah, I am too.
Here's what I'll say about the movie. I went in totally clean. I didn't, and I think in general, as I looked at the numbers after the fact, I think this is actually a good lesson in preconceptions and expectations when it comes to movies, because I was trying to figure out why people were so split on it. Or as I was reading reviews on IMDb, just a lot of people rating it a 5 and a 6 and just not thrilled with it. And I think, what is it about these types of movies that seem to be polarizing. And I don't know if it was because people came in with a preconception about the fact that it was a boy band guy starring in a ninja movie. And so they're kind of already looking down your nose at it, or any number of ways, maybe because of, the Wachowskis or whatever it was. I think sometimes we come into movies with certain expectations or preconceived ideas of what it's going to be, and it really affects our ability to enjoy the movie. So I always really try hard to just accept a film as it's presented by the director, and then not say that I will automatically like it, but I'll make the judgment based on their vision for it, not what I thought it should be before I even saw it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I went in with I don't know anything about ninja genre. I don't know anything about any of these actors. Like, I don't. Maybe the Mika woman was familiar because of some of the stuff you mentioned, but I would not have put those together. Yeah. She looked like she's probably the only actor in the movie that I'm like, oh, I think I've seen her before. Yeah. Well, she looks a lot different too. Completely blank slate for me going into this film.
Cool.
I had never seen her in anything else. There were two different actors in the movie that I recognized from.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So you had not seen Skyfall or any of those, I think it was Moonlight, some of her other movies. No. Okay. Perfect. Well, look, let's jump into this film, because the movie, I think right off the bat, one of the things that it does is establish the fact that the director is making a strong choice.
Yes.
Which I always appreciate when filmmakers, they just make strong choices and this is what we're doing.
There's no doubt about that. He had a vision for this film.
And probably the one thing that you can't not miss about this film is it's hyper stylized violence.
Yes, I'm wearing red to honor how much blood and red. Actually just red. I don't even think it looked bloody. It was just red stuff.
And so just the film, anytime anyone's struck by anything.
I actually thought it might be ketchup at one point.
There's a geyser, right? It's that color. There's just geysers of blood shooting out of people. There was a point
when I'm watching this going, would it be cheaper to actually use ketchup or fake blood? I'm not sure which one of those would be actually more cost effective for this film crew.
Yes. And they made that decision clear that they were going to depict way more blood than actually fits into a human body.
Yes. Yes, I definitely learned that apparently the human body has far more blood than I ever anticipated, and you can live with a lot more of it out of your body than I thought.
Yeah, bodies are far more durable than we think too.
Crazy. So the movie opens, and basically it's a guy getting a tattoo in an old-fashioned way, where it's like dude with a tool, like a little mallet and a thing. Just hammering the stick.
I thought that was blood at first.
It was red ink.
It was red ink, but it was. I thought, wow, geez, he's bleeding this guy up. What's going on here?
And the noise it was making was not pleasant either, right? It was like squishy, and I was like, wow.
So the first word in the movie is the queen mother of all dirty words.
Yes. Yeah. Because he's not enjoying this experience. No. And he's like a Yakuza boss, played by the guy from Fast and the Furious.
Yep, Han.
That's right.
I saw those movies, so I don't know him. But
I'm a big fan of him.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah, he was not happy with his tattooing experience.
No, but I thought it was great that he had the Nick Cage guns.
Yes.
From Face Off.
Yes. Yeah, that big golden gun.
Yeah,
and then he had two of them by the end.
That's right.
Of that scene.
Of course he does.
Yeah, that in and of itself is a movie trope. I'm like, every mob boss has to be dual wielding or single wielding a gold plated Desert Eagle.
Is that what those were, Desert Eagle?
Yes, I think they just share the one pair through all film productions. Just like, oh, it's Tuesday, we need him. We're filming a Mexican standoff. Can you you can have them for your Yakuza movie on Saturday. Nick Cage needs him back on Wednesday for what he's doing. Oh my gosh. And basically what happens is Han is getting tattooed, and a letter is delivered with a wax seal on it. And when they open it up, this black powder just pours out of it. Black sand, sorry. And the tattoo artist loses his mind when he sees this, right? He starts freaking out.
I've only seen one letter like that before.
That's right. No, man. And he won't say what it is. He won't say the word, right? The word is ninja. He's like,
I didn't know ninja was something you couldn't say.
No, well, apparently not. You speak the word and they appear, and all the guys are laughing at him.
Well, they even named a motorcycle after a ninja. So apparently the ninjas don't know you're not supposed to say ninja.
That's the one thing that I like better about American Ninja is there were sweet motorcycle stunts.
Oh, yeah.
Where stunt people almost died multiple times.
Yeah. Bust his teeth out.
But basically he's saying, last time I saw this black sand, everyone in the room was killed, and I should have been killed too. And he had a stab wound in his chest, but because his heart is on the wrong side, which is a real medical condition.
It's called flippy heart disease.
Like 1 in 10,000 people.
Catherine O'Hara apparently has that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. And so he had a really cartoony tattoo
Yeah, he had a tattoo of a ninja stabbing the scar.
See, that's a good observation. See, I didn't catch that it was stabbing the scar. I just saw like it was cartoonish.
It was very, very subtle.
Talk about bad luck. Dude survives like an impossible ninja attack, only to then have another ninja attack.
Just come and get him. That tattoo did not look like it was made in the old-fashioned style he used personally as a tattoo artist.
Well,
no, it didn't.
I don't think he was sitting there sticking to himself.
He's like, this is way too painful. I'm just going to get a normal tattoo. And this is my career. It's It's like never buy a plumber's house because they never do it right in their own homes.
And so while they're all laughing at him, like, oh, ninja's going to get us. Literally, something horrible happens.
That's right.
What? Oh. So I would like to ask what were your first impression of when you just saw this head get cleaved straight in half?
Surprise? It was Don't normally see guys' heads get cut off like that.
I kind of just like, okay, this is how this movie's going to be, right? It just kind of lets you know right off the bat, like, okay, I know how this is going to go.
This is going to be very violent and very bloody.
Because his tongue is still there, on like just laying on top of his jaw, and the top half of his head goes and lands somewhere else, and you're just like, okay, this is what I'm in for the next 90 minutes, right? Which is not. I mean, it's good to let the audience know immediately.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it was like
off to the races, man.
I had seen this movie before, but when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah.
And this thing, it's the ninja attack itself. I mean, he just decimates a room full of good dudes. Okay. The ninja attack itself is presented almost like a monster movie. It was like like the xenomorph in Aliens was like running through the shadows.
Yeah, this guy's getting ripped to pieces,
snatching dudes,
bones sliced and have heads off, bodies cut in half.
People are apparently made of Jello.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
In this movie,
all these people were slaughtered by one ninja.
One guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of knife sharpener these people use.
Seriously.
They're able to cut through bone like it's nothing.
My kitchen, though.
Right. Like it's nothing.
Ginsu knife. Ginsu blades.
And then why kill the old man?
I'm too old for that.
At the end, the ninja comes out of the shadows. Right?
Yep.
And he killed the old guy. Why kill the old guy? He already survived one of your attacks.
Well, I think two things. They were mad he didn't die because they didn't know about flippy heart disease.
Oh, okay.
But they also should have learned that if you're going to stab people in the heart, you better go both sides because you never know when you're going to catch the 1 in 10,000.
This is true. Very true.
And one of my favorite quotes came from this part too.
Yes.
Yeah. So the guy's name, according to IMDb, is Tattoo Master.
Tattoo Master.
He said, "For 60 years, I've told this story. No one believed me, but you are real. Aren't you?"
Aren't you?
Are you serious? Like, you literally watched a ninja decimate all these people twice?
Yes.
And you got stabbed by one twice now?
Nice. That's true. What part didn't he catch the first time you stabbed him in the chest?
Talk about bad luck. Like, maybe you got to tattoo different people. Like, the odds of you ending up in 2 different ninja assaults.
Yeah.
Just not good, man.
You know, the other thing thinking about that now, those gangsters didn't seem worthy of Ninja Assassin.
No.
Why
somebody paid for it,
bosses?
I guess.
And they seemed like C-level mobsters.
Somebody spent $1.5 million on 100 pounds of gold, which I guess I should talk about. So before we get too far into the plot, I'm going to give you guys just a general overview because I feel like if I don't, you're going to be lost, especially if you haven't seen this movie. So let me know if I've got this wrong. But there are basically 9 secret clans of ninjas around the world. And these clans, they snatch kids. Well, I don't want to say then there's orphans, they're, street kids. I don't think they're kidnapping children from their families necessarily, but they're training them.
Although they could be because
they could be
not good guys.
And these are kids from multiple nationalities.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not xenophobic ninjas. They're willing to go outside of the Japanese race.
And they train them to be like elite, almost superhuman assassins.
They apparently have ninja super healing powers.
Right. They're like superheroes in a way.
Yeah.
Terrible superheroes. Like the training itself is beyond brutal, what they put these kids through. And apparently how it works is now the governments of the world all have them on speed dial, I guess. Like, one hand, no one knows they exist except like when you're the president, you get the file that's just like, now you know about the ninjas, right? Like you can call them to assassinate people all around the world. If you have 100 pounds of gold, that's apparently, since the beginning of time, the price of a man's life.
That's it. 100 pounds.
100 pounds of gold, however much that cost at the time,
Yeah.
which is about $1.5 million in the movie anyway.
2009.
Do you think their letters that they drop off have return addresses, and that's how people know?
How do you get in touch with them?
Yeah.
Right, you fax them something.
Well, and the other question that comes up,
they're in the dojo. You hear a fax in the next room.
Yeah, so they're supposedly supposed to be secret,
right?
But they go in and they destroy people. Like there's body parts laying around, and anyone who investigates them gets chopped up. So,
right.
Like, how do the ninjas keep themselves secret? Do they have
because they kill anyone that investigates?
But there's
if
so
they're
many
real or not.
Weird body parts and knife cuts and
maybe
throwing stars. Do they have like cleanup crews?
Yeah, I think they have a cleanup crew like in John Wick.
They're the white coated ninjas that come in with brooms and disinfecting.
They're the ones that failed weapons training.
Maybe that's where like Serve Master came from. The Serve Pro guys that come in and clean up your house. They're like, we're so good at cleaning up after ninjas. We're gonna go and.
It's the downside of being a ninja, right? After the camera cuts, they're like, no, we got to clean this up.
Like, oh crap, the cleanup crew.
You know, it's like your kids that like spill their Legos all over the floor. It's like someone has to clean it up eventually.
Right, you just see one trying to pull a ninja star out of a wooden beam. You know, like can't get it. Get the crowbar.
These guys got to throw it so freaking hard. Yeah, get the crowbar out. Get the throwing star extractor. We need 5 of them.
And I guess you're right. Like Alexei, I think, is a guy we're going to get to in a minute who was investigating them and got killed. And whoever investigates them gets cut up into a million pieces.
Yeah, they get whacked.
And so you'd have to imagine that eventually it'd start to go, I wonder what happened to Bob. What was he doing when he got killed? Well, he was investigating these ninjas. That's weird.
Why did Bob want so many lights around his house?
Yeah, ninjas are
so weird that
the light
fell into a wood chipper like that. I don't know.
Seriously, Bob gets chopped all to pieces. What was he investigating? Ninjas? Well, I don't know. Must just be a coincidence that he's chopped up in 5 different pieces.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't ninjas. Don't say the word. Well, so from there, essentially after this hit on Han from Fast and the Furious, whose name in the movie is Hollywood.
Is that his name?
We start to cut in between basically Interpol, right?
It's not actually Interpol. It's something else.
Okay, what was it called? Was it Europol?
It's called Europol on IMDb at least.
And one of the trivia points or goof points was that apparently this is not an enforcement organization; it's an information organization.
Got it.
So that's why the girl or the lady Mika says, "I'm just I think you said librarian or something like that."
A librarian that carries around a gun, though.
Right, because they don't have. Yeah,
well,
that's true.
she's investigating stuff, but that's why they always have to call on the other people to do the enforcement.
Gotcha. Apparently. So, but most of the movie is kind of bouncing between these two parties, right? Or through the ninja stuff, and then back to the Interpol people, which is basically Mika. These two people, Mika and Ryan.
It's a very hard cut. I feel like
it is. It's always kind of jarring.
You got like traditional. Traditional in a sense, ninjas in Japanese culture, and then boom, they're in Berlin,
right, or in a cubicle in an office somewhere, right?
It's an interesting movie too because you don't watch very many movies that are set in Berlin for one thing, and that it has an interesting European flavor to it that most American films don't have.
No, absolutely. And so in Interpol in Berlin, we meet Mika and Ryan, and Mika's like, oh man, there's some ninja shenanigans going on. And Ryan's like, no, I don't believe you.
No one believes in ninjas. He lists all these other things and he's like, ninjas?
Could be ridiculous. I don't know. And then we go and we catch a glimpse of the first time we see our main character, Rizzo, in a laundromat.
Yes.
I love how you laugh immediately.
My note for that was, apparently ninjas have to do laundry too. Yeah. I really thought about that.
Well, he's not going to have to anymore because he ruined all his clothes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because now, so here's the other thing. We're told about the clan thing.
Yeah.
But that's not really much of a point in this movie because there's only one clan. It's the one he ran away from.
Right.
Yeah, there's supposedly 9 clans.
But at this point, we don't even know that he's run away.
Doesn't he say something to her about you're from the clan?
Well, he asks what clan is she from. Just straight up. Like, she doesn't say anything. She's asked him to help fold her fitted sheet.
Which is I think why he outed himself as a ninja because he was able to fold a fitted sheet. And that's that was her test.
If there's anyone in the world that could fold a fitted sheet well, it's probably ninjas.
That's what I'm saying. So that was her test, and when he did it, she's like, oh, it's him.
I think too. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but she was way too sweaty to be doing laundry. Like, she was sweaty.
Well, maybe she didn't know you could put money in the machine. She was like spinning it herself.
Yeah, she was doing something. But
she's using the old washboard about back. It saves her 50 cents.
If you're trying to hide the fact that you're a ninja, don't fold fitted sheets.
We also learned that
I feel like if I ever saw somebody folding a fitted sheet, I'd be like, oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
We also learned that that washing machines apparently cannot keep blood in them.
Yeah, because he just kind of stuffs her in there.
Well, yeah, so it cut. So she she attacks him while he's folding this fitted sheet because she's like, oh, he's a ninja. And it's like a little ninja fight, a really short one.
That was her mistake. If she had attacked him while he was folding a flat sheet, she might have made it.
Exactly. And it cuts back to the laundromat owner who's like getting blazed back in the office. Okay, watching The Price is Right or whatever back there. And he comes out to see what's going on. And Rizzo, the main character, is gone. And he just goes up to the dryer or the washing machine where Rizzo was doing his laundry, and it's just filled with chunks and blood.
Blood starts running out of the machine.
Yeah.
It's got to be the worst washing machine ever. It can't hold water.
Yeah,
it's like, you ruined all your clothes, man. Like, maybe now he's got one outfit for the rest of the movie.
Maybe it was just her clothes.
But that's the one he was standing at.
Oh. Well, maybe that's why she was mad.
That's the power of OxyClean.
He goes back to his apartment, and it's just, like, empty, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, now you got no clothes. Right. You've already got no stuff in your apartment. It's like,
and his landlord had gone in, and he's like, I'm waiting for my papa's very sick.
Right.
Travel light.
Right.
So I can leave anytime.
Yeah, someone's like, the lady is like, why do you keep your apartment like this?
I don't know. Definitely not because I'm a ninja. That's a little joke, I tell. So we're back at Interpol really quick. Micah's like, I found out about the 9 clans. Do you believe me now? And Ryan's like, nah. This is like the whole thing. Yeah. And Micah says, then why you help me? He's like, because you fine, girl. Right? Like, that's
right.
Like,
the sexual harassment on the job, yeah. Yeah. Because you're my most attractive researcher. Yeah.
Right. So these first couple scenes when we just cut back to Interpol for a minute, it's like not a lot's happening. It's just Mika basically just saying,
There's ninjas.
He's like, no, I don't think there is.
Here's some more proof. No.
He's like, no, ninjas don't exist. You're pretty, though.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So we'll have lunch and talk about the ninjas if that helps me have lunch with you. But yeah, so he's at his apartment, and he's got like ninja weapons everywhere.
Yeah, it's like the stereotypical action movie.
Hidden away. Yeah.
Every crevice opens to reveals weapons hidden away.
Yep. It made me think about, you ever see Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No.
Every time he came into his apartment, he'd pull his gun out and shoot the closet, and a bad guy would always fall out. and the kid was like, how'd you know it was a bad guy? He's like, there's always a guy in the closet. It's just great. He's got these things out. This is the first point in the movie where the flashbacks start. And half the movie is through flashbacks.
That is true.
Like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Of his, as a young man being trained, first as a very small child, and then as a teenager and stuff. Yep. And this is the first moment when he's in his apartment that we get kind of that first flashback. And the first insane thing we see is that ninjas can apparently keep the blood from falling out of their bodies. Because he like cut dad ninjas like, check this out.
This is a movie trope. Yeah. I hate it when people cut their hands. I've twice had surgery on my hands. I don't know if the camera can see. For trigger finger, it's a condition. And can I just tell you, your hands do not always heal easily. In fact, this last one I had to go to wound care to heal. Geez. And they actually put beeswax, which is another story, but it's interesting they use that.
Oh my gosh.
So if you got to draw blood for any sacrificial reason, do your arms.
What?
Do your arms. You don't want your hands that move all the time. You'll never heal. But then, so that's my thought. Yes. My note was, why do people always cut? But then he heals himself.
He heals himself. He check. He's like, check this out. Like almost like he's showing kids a magic trick or whatever, and just slices his hand open.
Yep.
And then I don't know if he does a hand motion.
Does some Naruto hand motions.
Right. And then just heals back up.
I guess a caveat to my statement that if you have to draw blood for sacrificial persons, use your arm. No arteries underneath, on top. But if you can heal yourself, go ahead, cut anywhere you want, I guess.
Yeah, but he even I think he makes mention of the fact that he can control your blood.
Yeah.
Because nothing bleeds when he cuts himself. It's like, how do you hold the blood up in your body? Do you just?
He must be the only ninja that can control their blood.
Because there's a lot of blood.
Nobody else does it.
Ninja.
I'm like, what's he doing? He's just clenching, like when you got it. When you just clench.
Comes out of him too, though. By the end of the movie.
Yeah, he forgets how to. At the end.
It gets a little distracting when you're in actual combat.
Is it like when you suck in your gut? Is it that kind of thing? Like what? Right. What are you doing to keep the blood in your body? Right?
Yeah.
And that's some next level. It made me think about the Miyagi thing from the American Ninja 5. He heals himself. I'm like, that's some next level Miyagi, because Miyagi was able to heal.
Wait, Miyagi's in
Mr. Miyagi 5? From he is in American Ninja 5.
So I think Karate Kid and American Ninja are in the same universe, because Mr. Miyagi is in American Ninja.
Bad for the actor. What happened to his career that he had to go through that movie?
I don't know, but his whole thing was he was able to heal the injuries. Maybe he was one of the 9 clan members.
Is that a ninja thing that they can control their body to that degree?
I don't know. Apparently, according to this movie.
Maybe.
Anyway, Rizzo gets so depressed thinking about his past. He's like, I'm going to do handstands on nails. Make me feel better about this. That was awful. And then the other, so they're back to the flashback. Sorry. They're teaching the little kid, who's Rizzo, I'm assuming, to like sneak across a wooden floor without making a sound.
This disturbed me, actually.
Yes. And if you because ninjas are supposed to be able to move without any sounds at all.
Yep.
And so one step he takes and the floor creaks. And the dude just, I don't know if it's a reed or what it is that he's got.
Yeah, it's some kind of switch. Yeah.
Yeah. Just starts whipping the bottoms of his feet. And it was opening up his feet.
I didn't like that. The kid was too young for that. I didn't need to see that.
No.
And my other thought from a practical perspective is feet are really important. Like, you really need to be able to work your feet and feel your feet. You know, if you're diabetic, they're always checking your feet to make sure you can still feel, because it's so important to be able to function and move and walk. So if you've got scar tissue built up on the bottom of your feet, you're not going to be able to feel as much as you need to. And don't ninjas wear them little booty things too? So
little ninja booties.
They're supposed to be able to feel everything.
Those little ninja booties.
But then you have the little girl who loves him.
Yeah, so that's our first introduction to Kariko.
Comes and puts salve of some sort from a branch.
And you get this idea that there's a special relationship between him and this girl that's also training to be a ninja there.
Yep.
But then I kind of had a moment I laughed out loud to myself, because then it cuts back to him and he's doing this training session in his apartment. Now it's back to and he's whipping the thing around and doing all the thing. I was like, what do his neighbors think that he's doing in there?
I was thinking the same
thing. He's in an apartment building.
I'm like, when I was living in an apartment, I could hear my neighbors just walking. He is literally full on ninja-ing. Well, just not quietly.
Maybe German apartment engineering is better than our American.
It looked like an older building, too.
That's true.
And I'm just
my old house, you can hear everybody everywhere.
You think like a herd of elephants is living above you. Like,
well,
I just wanted one shot of a woman like beating the ceiling with a broom, right? And be like, shut up there. Yeah.
But he's an ninja, so maybe he's super quiet.
I guess, but I don't know how.
Probably more than that, because he's got his feet beat up. Like, I'm not ever making a sound.
That's true. So we're back with Interpol. Mika goes to see Alexi's wife. And, first like, wait, who's Alexi? But Alexi was apparently a KGB agent who was also investigating the existence of the 9 clans, right?
Yeah.
And so she's following the breadcrumbs herself now, because she, I don't know, has an itch to be diced into a million pieces. And so she's like, I got to figure out about these ninjas. Right. And goes to see this woman who tells the story of Alexi. And there's this really cool scene where he came in and he's like, there can be no shadows, right? Like, he's protecting his house.
Yeah.
Kissed her, said he loves her, and then he sets up all these like floodlights all over his whole property.
And cameras, security cameras,
and cameras everywhere. Because the ninjas need shadows to be able to hide, right?
Yeah. Yep. They're like monsters, like you mentioned earlier.
Right. But what's funny is like, well, how'd they kill him? Well, the lights went off.
Nobody
thought to just cut the lights.
They unplugged it.
I think he would have a backup generator or something for that, right?
They unplugged the lights, and then Alexi gets killed.
Why would he go outside?
It wouldn't have mattered at that point,
Maybe
right?
He's gonna protect his wife. So I might as well
you're done.
And then Rizzo gets caught like on security camera. I'm like, you are a terrible ninja.
I just imagine Alexi as the lights go off. They come in and he's just like, why didn't I think of that? Right? Yeah, Rizzo, I thought the whole point is that they're not supposed to be perceptible, but there he is, clear as day.
Yeah, that was a little.
And at this point,
not even wearing a mask or anything. He just walks out.
And at this point, I think it's important to tell people that, you see these ninjas coming in and on security cameras, and they're killing people that are investigating them and all that. And we keep getting this intercut with Rizzo and his flashbacks. And at this point, there's no mention made that he's not still part of the clan.
Yes, I actually thought that was well done.
Right, that was well done.
I did not. I thought he was the assassin.
He was the guy going around killing everybody, right? And they made it seem that way.
The title of the movie and the way they did that, I did think he was the assassin. So when it turned out he was not, I have a note on there. It turns out he's a good guy.
Right.
Yep.
Right. He's actually fighting against the
That was ninjas. A good... Yeah. I thought they actually did that very well from a plot and a movie-making standpoint.
Yes.
I thought that was good. One of my other favorite lines is... Well, a couple questions. One question first. If you don't open the sand envelope, can they still kill you?
They're not allowed to, I don't think.
I think they're hiding in the envelope.
I could be. It's black
I was going to say, I thought they were hiding in the shadows going, did he open it yet? No, it's been...
I mean, that's a legit question. Why send the envelope? If you don't open
no,
it, maybe
because
the contract's not valid. And
I'm terrible at opening mail. I've got mail that sat on my table for like 3 weeks.
I can guarantee you in this day and age, even back in 2009, it's post 9/11 world, and we had some weird... If someone sends me a weird envelope with a weird seal on it, unless I know it's from like the Harry Potter place that my kids get every once in a while, I'm not opening no sealed envelope like that.
They'd literally be in my house waiting in the same shadow in my dining room going, it's been sitting on his table for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Can we kill him yet?
Killed him yet? I gave you 100 pounds of gold. He hasn't opened the envelope.
Just leave it on the table and wait for my wife to throw it away.
Right. Come on. I'll start giving him, start feeding the ninjas dinner. You guys want some noodles?
Another letter without the seal this time. Publishers Clearinghouse. He'll open that.
What's funny is Alexi's wife at the end, like, gives Mika this box of all his, investigative work that he's done on these ninjas. And it was just funny to me. She's like, he would want you to have this. Here's all his ninja stuff that got him killed. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm also like, did he know her? Like, I mean.
No, I'm guessing not. But still, like, he was murdered over this. Here you go.
He wants someone else to continue his work after.
I guess.
Yeah.
So then we get back, we get more flashbacks, and this time we get a scene, and now Rizzo's a bit of a teenager at this point, and he's fighting this guy with all these like hanging pots that are flaming on fire, right, in this scene. And I just remember thinking to myself,
I think he's with the girl now, though, right? Meek and him have connected?
Well, they've connected, yeah. I don't know if there's ever a relationship because they're not really allowed to.
But I mean,
they've met.
No, he hasn't met up in
She gets the information from Alexi.
Not yet. Even present day, that he's not met up with her yet.
Okay.
No. But back in, I thought you meant Kiriko in his flashbacks.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I remember thinking how much more advanced the ninja training was than in American Ninja. Right? You remember they were training in American Ninja? It was just like a picture of a skeleton out on the, like, they had like a swing set and a couple of things. They were just like, this is a skeleton and here's a swing set. And then you get like these training sessions, and it was just very jarring going from kind of whiplash from going from that ninja movie to this ninja
I didn't like seeing the whole when they were little kids bothered me a lot because I didn't like kids getting whacked and bleeding from the head and the feet thing, and just really violent.
And in this scene, it's one where he says, "Let me show you true pain," and he does the thing where he pushes his belly button in,
which comes back later in the movie.
What is that? He's like, "I'm going to turn your Audi into an innie," and
I
that's
almost thought he went into him.
It's almost like the reverse Flash when he like sticks his hand into people.
I thought we were having one of those Temple of Doom moments.
Something, right? He was going to pull his stomach out or something. He's just like, "No, I push your."
I will also confess.
It's like, "No, I push your belly button."
I had a hard time knowing when it was actually Rizzo he was picking on than just some other random kid. So I didn't know what was happening.
They don't do a super great job, but basically, like every time they show Rizzo fighting someone, it's like always, what's his name, Takashi.
Oh yeah, his brother.
His big brother.
Brother. Okay,
they're like setting up that rivalry there, but they don't explain it very well.
Okay, that makes sense because at the end I'm like, well, I don't know who this older brother is.
Because they don't even really give name or voice to the older brother till halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
right?
You have to pay attention, but the only like really thing that they have that distinguishes him is the scars he has around his eyes that Rizzo gave him, basically.
Okay. Yeah. And so back to present day again. We keep just jumping back and forth. We're back with Interpol here, and Mika is in the office, and the frickin' Gestapo comes into her office. Yeah, everyone. Right? And that guy had some serious, "you will give me the book now" vibes, like from Indiana Jones, right? "You have the diary in your pocket." Like that's like, yo, this guy just stepped straight out of Indiana Jones, and he's like, basically saying, "I'm from Internal Affairs," and it's a way of warning them, right? Like, knock off with the ninja stuff.
What's your relationship with this dude?
That's right. We saw you having lunch together. Yeah. I'm like, dude, what's this? That guy's weird.
She should have reported him then.
He's creepy.
He totally sexually harassed me, dude.
That's right. Go talk to him. He said he was only talking to me because I was pretty. So now we're cut back to more back to the flashbacks, and Rizzo is now. This is where they're starting to establish the relationship with Kiriko, the little girl who had helped him heal his feet, right? Yes. And so now here. She's cutting the strands on a bonsai tree that is basically with, restraining it so it grows in a certain way. And he's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that. It's against the rules," right? And it's just the heart of the tree knows where it wants to grow.
Yeah.
And it starts this whole thing about their hearts, which becomes a running theme through the movie, right?
That's right.
Because he says, I don't have a heart. He says, everything has a heart, but he says, I don't, which is kind of sad.
She bent down to listen to his, and then he willfully listened to hers.
Yeah, it's kind of a,
I think he enjoyed that.
he was just like, I get to do what?
Yeah.
He looks around, he's like, okay. But it's kind of the sweet moment between the two of them. Like, really the only human connection he's had as a child going through this hellhole.
Yeah.
And even later on when they sleep kind of near each other, but like across from each other, they're able to like their hearts beat in unison.
You took that much more innocently than I did.
Did you? Did I?
I said blindfold sexy senses.
That was like,
I'm like,
in some way the only thing they could do.
I have been reading The Stand, so there's a lot of adult stuff in The Stand. So maybe my mind's a little skewed to directions we shouldn't go.
It was like how
I'm like, what's going on?
It was like how they made love in Demolition Man.
I guess.
Like,
I don't know, man.
Where they just
going on
their minds and their hearts being synced.
Yeah, I did like the blindfold. Like every time anyone gets blindfold, I automatically think of Star Wars, though.
Yes,
but it was cool. He could hear him, and he beat that guy up.
Which is again his older brother, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got this cool sword that goes through the hilt.
Yeah, what was that? That was pretty neat. Seems like it could be a little troublesome if you don't know how to use it completely, because you're swinging, all of a sudden it disappears the wrong way or stabs you.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh crap.
I brought it down too firmly and it shot into me.
Yeah, it's like it could either be pointing out this way, or it could be double bladed.
I'll just say right now, I think my favorite parts of the film were the two younger versions of them. Of him and the girl.
Yes.
Those are
great.
Those were great scenes.
And Kiriko starts to get in trouble with Azuna. Well, Dad Ninja, we'll just call him because it's easier. Gets in trouble with Dad Ninja, who's basically the only adult in this entire complex that we ever see that's training these ninjas.
Bad Dad Ninja.
He's very bad. He's the one whipping and beating these kids and getting them to be and showing them how to cut their hands open and everything. So Dad Ninja wants Kiriko to cut some kid who she just beat up. Right? He says he lost. He's got to wear it on his flesh.
Cut him.
And she's like, nah, fam. And like ends up getting her own face cut.
Yeah, gets her face cut.
And gets put in the box.
Yeah, the box is really small.
Yeah, right. And so it's a standing. This is the worst part about it is you got to stand the whole time. And apparently you don't have water or anything because.
You're just in the sun, yeah.
Just in the sun. Because later that night, Raizo sneaks out to give her some water.
Yep.
Which, how do you police people sneaking out at a ninja school? That's got to be happening all the time.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. He seems to be able to get around pretty easy.
Right. They're ninjas. So how would you ever
That's true.
police
there are
that?
older ninjas, though.
I guess.
Well, because older ninjas bring her back.
That's true. Well, she tries to, so basically she says, after she gets out of the box, this is the big moment, right? Which kind of changes Raizo's trajectory of his life. She says, I'm dipping out of here.
Yep.
And she goes to the wall. She's going to climb over. They have this conversation. He tries to stop her. He says, they'll cut your heart out. Right. And she says this a very important line to him, which is, they could never touch my heart.
Yeah.
What's on the other side of the wall is life, right? I'm going to live one. And so she climbs over the wall. He doesn't go with her. And in short order, she's captured and brought back.
Yeah, she wasn't sneaky enough.
She was.
No.
She might have ended up being a cleaning detail ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
She was going to be part of housekeeping for the ninja clan. Right. And so this is where, and they're very careful when to cut back to show the full story, because at this point we still don't know that Raizo's not still a member of the clan, because it cuts back before we see Kiriko's fate to Interpol. And Ryan's like now fully with Mika, like they're crazy. They're investigating me. This is real. Here's a gun. Right. And she goes back to her apartment, which the power is knocked out.
I
right.
like the German dude sitting on like a lawn chair.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Hey, power's out.
Like eating popcorn, watching a building.
I know. What was he doing?
But she goes in. Okay. And a ninja is there to attack her. And this is the first time we realize.
And she knows the dark's dangerous because the lady told her the lights went out and he went out.
She also had a letter too.
She got the thank you. She opens the powder letter.
Yeah.
There, the sand letter.
And then the ninja
you're
comes.
like, oh, you're toast. You should have never opened it. Leave it alone.
Should have left him on red.
And right as the blade is about to strike her, it's stopped by Raizo, who's also there in the darkness. And so this is the first time we can see that he's there protecting her and trying to find, because his whole thing is he wants to.
Didn't he get the phone call already?
Who's that?
Raizo. He got a phone call and he had a picture of her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So he gets a phone call and then a little child hands him a picture of her and we're like, oh, she's his next target or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And it basically leads up to that with the black sand. And then it's like, oh, he actually saved her.
He saved her, right? So that was really good build up. But then there's a question: is well, who exactly called him, and why? Like, is there like an organization that he's working with that's like, we're going to help you with the?
Are there any other ninjas?
Maybe one of the 9 clans or something. Yeah, I don't know. They never really delve into that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a Terminator John Connor moment in T2 where you think he's there to kill John and he saves him from the other Terminator, right?
I thought that was well done. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. No, it was cool. And we find out why in the very next scene because it flashes back to what happens to Kariko once she's captured back in the day.
Right.
And she's executed by
the brother, I think. Right?
Yep, the brother.
Up on the order of Dad Ninja. But Takeshi is the older brother who actually drives the sword into Kariko's heart. And they have this moment where they share a glance before she's actually killed. And from that moment, I think it was done for him, even though he does do one mission for his first kill, so to speak.
Right.
Which was ridiculous.
One of my favorite lines, because there's not a lot, but one of them that I thought was pretty legit funny was when he's like, I think he gives her a gun or something. Anyways, he says, "Can you help fight yourself?" or something like that.
Yeah.
She says, "I once took a Taibo class, but that's the extent of my kung fu ability." That's a good line right there. I like that.
I don't think Taibo is going to help you against these monsters.
And I like that
in the shadows.
Kung fu is not karate. It's even funnier, right?
Right.
It's not even in the right genre.
No.
Martial arts. Yeah. That was a good line.
That was good. And we basically, the last sort of flashback we see of Raizo is him fighting what I wrote down as the Kingpin, basically from Marvel. It's like this big giant bald dude in a bathroom. Yep. He's like, the guy's going to be wearing a gold watch. This is Dad Ninja in the limo or whatever. And he's like, go bring me back the watch.
And he's wearing all white too.
All white. Can I just say, in this small fight in the bathroom, which does not go well for Raizo, it's not sneaky or efficient at all.
No.
It turns into a total brawl. But human beings are not built like this guy.
No.
Where you can take knives to the neck and it's gushing blood.
That's
and
what
he
I
says
said.
that tickle.
Does that tickle?
Yeah,
right.
apparently he's a fat guy who can take multiple wounds to vital arteries and still continue fighting. Because he got him in the neck.
Because it was
and he got him in the one in the leg, which I know people have told me personally they've seen people die bleeding out in seconds on the leg.
Yes.
If you cut that one to your legs, it just all goes.
He knew all the spots to hit this dude. And that's why I was like, he's Kingpin from the comic books.
Stupid.
And it wasn't it hilarious that after all that, he died by toilet?
And that was really violent. Like that violence there though that felt too violent.
It was.
Even for this film because I've never liked face smashing since I saw American History X, but
no. That was the curb stomp?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Well, he goes up to the roof and he's got the.
Clarify, I didn't like face stamping before.
No, I got you.
It's never really been my way of watching people die.
We go back and Raizo takes the watch up to, the broken watch up to his dad, and they're all on the roof. But and then he's like, all right, time to prove you're truly Azuna. And so Dad Ninja brings out some rando who I guess, failed in some way.
Yeah.
And he's like, now you got to kill this guy.
It was a guy or a girl?
It was a girl.
It was a girl. Yeah. And he's like, psych. And Raizo slices Dad Ninja's face in half.
Yeah, with his kunai and chain.
I don't think I've ever seen that weapon, and that was pretty neat.
That was awesome.
A character in Kill Bill uses it.
Oh,
with the wrecking ball in the end, kind of the bladed ball in the end. Yeah, kind of. From what I understand, when I read about it, it's a very, very difficult weapon to master. Yeah,
because I can see my first time using this flings around and stabs me in my neck. I'm like, that was a good try. I'm going to see Jesus now.
He
should have stuck with the fast train thing, not the knife wielding ninja plan of my retirement or whatever.
That thing is crazy. But then he obviously was, Dad Ninja's like, kill him, and he takes on 20 ninjas on the roof of this place, and does okay for a little while.
Yeah.
But then it's like RoboCop. I mean, it's just
pieces.
Then they start
shooting
stars. The ninja stars
right out of their handguns.
Yeah,
not handguns, handguns.
Yeah.
This is the point in the movie where I wrote so much blood like Mel Brooks' Dracula.
Yes.
So my if you want to get a feel for what this movie is like with its blood, if you've ever saw Mel Brooks' Dracula version, there's a scene, I can't remember who the actor is, but he goes over the dead, or the Dracula's laying in his tomb or his coffin, and he takes a stake and he stabs him in the heart, and blood just pours out.
Comically
pours out, and then he says, so much blood. That's how this movie
just never
is.
going to end.
Just I mean, Raizo gets cut like in his guts and his arms.
Yes.
And he's still fighting and he's bleeding everywhere.
Well,
and
he takes some hits. And even after this point, he saved Mika, right? And now we get the flashback to see why he saved Mika, because he's trying to find Ninja Dad to go and kill him, basically. Right. And he's been a wanted man ever since he attacked Ninja Dad on the roof of that building. They've been after him.
Yes.
And even when you hear the other ninjas talk about traitor, murderer, and he's like, you just hear them and like they sound like ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings. Honestly, I was like, are these Nazgul or are they ninja? Right?
Yeah, because they're always whispering when they're going to attack, and it's like.
But it's even like distorted. Like
I thought of that snake parcel tongue thing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
that too
from Harry Potter.
Yeah. And so basically, for the rest of the movie, it's Raizo and Mika are now together on the run from the ninjas while trying to also simultaneously figure out a way to get back to the Dad Ninja to kill him, to take him out, essentially, right? And so the way this happens is Ryan, who is the other agent that Mika had been trying to do, ninjas are real, calls her in, but it's really a setup, and Raizo is captured by Europol or whatever it is, right?
Which I debated in my mind whether his capture was realistic or not, because he's like an amazing ninja. Would they have caught him that easily?
Right.
I mean, he sort of knew something was up, but I guess once you get that thing around your neck, you're kind of.
Well, yeah, it was like she literally introduced Raizo to him, and he just walks up to him. First thing he says is, "Why would you do this?" And then he gets captured.
Right.
So I think I lean towards that's a pretty unrealistic scene because he's a ninja guy like he is. He wouldn't have gotten caught that easy.
No, I agree. But I think sometimes, unfortunately, it's in service to the plot, right? Like they needed him to be captured. Sure. And so,
I mean, it was realistic enough, I guess, because there's a lot of guys with guns and even ninjas at some point. Guns.
So they try to do it like that, like make it at least plausible by adding so many lights and people.
And he was trying to trust.
And he got tased immediately too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did get tased.
But we find out that Ryan is not really, because Ryan's like, playing off like he's a company man here and, trying to capture the ninja. When really,
I like that too.
To the side, he's like, I'm just trying to like not get killed because everybody's.
I've never seen anything like this, so something's big going on. We gotta.
Right. So him talking privately with Meek, and he gives her like a tracking peanut. Yes. Right? Yep. And it's like, wherever you are, you turn this on and we'll find you, which is really important in the plot. But while this all happening, they've got Raizo like chained up against a concrete wall with just floodlights on him.
Yeah, and I'm like, it was funny because I noticed at first, I'm like, oh, he's chained up. But I'm like, it looks like they use old seat belts to restrain him.
It was like straps. Yeah.
And ultimately, what do you think is going to happen?
It's not like ninjas have bladed weapons or anything.
No. What we all think is going to happen is what happens, right? The ninjas are coming, right? They know about Raizo and they've been tracking him down. Now. And she's trying to tell Ryan, like, yo, you better let the dog off the chain. Yeah, we're all hosed.
They put all the lights in the building on Raizo.
So everywhere else is dark. But there was a hilarious line when she comes over to him. He's still got to play along because he's in front of the other soldiers. And she goes to Ryan like, come on, we got to let Raizo go. The ninjas are coming. He's like, I think these guys can handle some whack jobs wearing pajamas. And then at the same, like, you hear like 10 guns cock, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I just laughed. I'm like, you clowns are. And then they all got slaughtered.
Yeah. We also skipped over just a funny line that one of the guards does while he's watching Raizo on the security cam. He's like, basically he says, this guy doesn't look that scary. He looks like he belongs in a boy band.
And then he looks at him, and the guy says, "Can you see me do that?"
And as like we talked about, Raizo Rain was in a boy band.
Nice little callback to the fans.
To the fans who knew,
absolutely. And so, of course, the ninjas show up, and Mika is able to let, as I said, the dog off the chain, Raizo out of his restraints, literally in the nick of time. Yeah. Even Raizo, who doesn't really seem to get nervous or was even like, yo, it's time to, like, come on, like, let's go. They're here.
Right.
Yeah. It was funny because when she came back for him, he, like, delivers, like, the most, like, awkward line. He's like, she's trying to unchain him after he tells her to basically run. Yeah. And he's like, oh, Mika. Then she pulls out his weapon. He's like, oh, I like you more already.
Yeah, here's what I want to say, and I guess now is the time, as good a time to do it as any, because I know you guys have kind of intimated that he's a similar acting level as Michael Dudikoff, which I think is not fair to Rain. I think there are plenty of scenes, and this is one where he showed heightened emotion or intensity or anger and rage in a way that Michael never did.
No, I would agree.
Michael, no matter what was happening, there's just nothing going on.
Right. He smiles a couple times.
He smiles. Even if it's mostly, intensity, quiet intensity, Michael didn't even give that.
I would say I believed Rain's intensity enough because of what I saw he went through.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fortunate he's not running around just screaming his head off in an institution somewhere.
And I think this first fight scene, so that's not the first fight scene, but the big fight scene in the basement here, like when the ninjas actually shows up here and he gets let out and he takes on about 47 ninjas by himself. It's a fantastic fight scene.
And 1 million ninja stars that are being thrown at not hitting anything.
Not hitting anything.
Yes.
But it's staged really well. There's no wire work or any nonsense because Chad Stahelski, the guy that did The Matrix and John Wick and all like did the fights and stuff. And so the fight scenes are staged really well. They're in camera. It's clear what's happening. Even though it is dark, it's just all really well done.
I like that scene too. I think it's here where the guys all have their guns and they look up and there's like all these ninjas.
Yeah, like above them.
Like spiders or bugs about to pounce upon them. That was pretty cool.
It's kind of like the aliens in Aliens 2 where they look up in the ceiling when they lift up the drop ceiling and they're all just kind of up in there, right? Yeah. I'm like, this is like a monster thing. Yeah. But he did a really great job. And so I just want to give props to Rain. A lot of people might have been like, oh, it's a boy band guy trying to do a ninja movie. He worked his butt off for like 6 months with this fight choreographer. Went on like this like chicken breast diet, like just got cut, did the work,
had no martial arts experience.
None, but he started training with Chad.
It's impressive that he doesn't have any martial arts experience.
And in the matter of 6 months, learned enough to be able to be believable. And the guy, so anytime a guy like just works his butt off like that, respect. He's not just like rolling off his tour bus from the boy band and being like, I'll come in and do the dialogue and throw in a stunt double, for the other stuff because Mr. Hollywood. This dude put his nose to the grindstone.
Those scenes with his shirts off, he has one of the most impressive bodies I've ever seen in my life.
So respect to that guy.
I'm like, when I get my new body in New Heavens and New Earth, I hope it looks like that.
less scarring, I hope.
Honestly.
Yes. But I think he has a legit 9-pack as Batman and Superman says.
Yes.
It was impressive.
I'm just really impressed with the work that he put on. Mika tries to wait while he's fighting all these ninjas, but she dips out of the parking garage under a hail of ninja stars.
How they have so many and throw them
I don't know.
like that. And they can go through Kevlar.
But not through hoods of cars.
Well, they got stuck. Yeah, I don't know. The Kevlar thing was like, what?
Imagine what do you think? You're just driving down the street and you see a car driving past and there are ninja stars just riddling them.
Right. Or just in right after this, when you're driving on the street and there's just ninjas running through the street.
I don't think cars would keep driving by.
That was a great scene, though.
Yeah, but I think people stop and be like, whoa.
Because the ninjas basically chase Rizzo out of the building, and now the fight goes into traffic. And so there's this great scene where they're like trying to fight while also avoiding cars, which leads to some really cool like moves and flips out of the way of vehicles that was just like made for an exciting action sequence. But they're not hiding at this point anymore.
No.
Like, we're not supposed to know there are ninjas. Everyone driving down I-94 in that.
They're wearing masks, though.
There's some guys on the street. Yes. They seem to be ninjas or some sort of martial artist. I'm not 100% sure.
I guess the ninja convention just got out.
Yeah, right.
Honestly. There was an old joke that like, oh, there was a ninja parade today, but nobody saw it, right? Like,
Of course it was at night.
It was at night. Rizzo in this fight, this is the kind of the first showdown he has with his older brother who catches up to him in traffic here, right? Takeshi. And he shakes off some massive hits. I mean, he gets cut across the stomach and the blood spray is so big. You thought, okay, he's been disemboweled. Right? But he just shakes it off and keeps fighting.
Yep.
Until they're both hit by a car.
Well, Takashi gets brutally hit by a car.
After that, yes.
She whacks him.
With her rear end. Well, not her rear end, but the rear end of her car, right? Mika flies, swoops in and just
I couldn't remember. I was like, is that how he died? Because he literally,
in real life,
backwards,
he would have died.
Like, he's got a broken spine.
Yeah.
He would have died in real life, but he's a ninja, so he can.
Yeah.
Well, that was the other confusion. She's like, we need to get you to the hospital. No, not a hospital.
Yeah, well,
he's like.
And then they take him to
well, before she's like, come on. I'm like, you better suck that blood in, brother. Like whatever trick that is that he taught you, because it's all coming out.
And so they go to this random hotel,
right?
That looks more like an apartment building.
He's like laying in bed,
and he's laying in bed. And I'm like, is this proper medical care?
No,
he needed.
It's Ninja Care.
Something.
So Ninja Care was all that their insurance covered.
Yeah, right. He's like, I'm uninsured. I'm a
just
ninja.
the hand gestures.
I'm a ninja, but I'm an unclanned ninja. So
right.
I have no health insurance policy.
He's not a union
or
ninja.
benefits, right? Yeah.
So while they're able to get away, the ninjas kind of still have their scent. Like there's this thing in the movie where the ninjas have your scent.
Yeah, and cigarette smoke apparently will hide you from.
Will hide you from it, right?
I don't know. If someone's smoking cigarettes, that's pretty.
It's more stinky.
Yeah, more stinky. But maybe, I don't know, pheromones or whatever people give off. I don't know what they're.
But she basically apologizes. Well, he's in a coma or whatever. He's like just knocked out. Says, I'm sorry, I can't help. Like, I'm a librarian, so without help, I can't do anything for you. And so she apologizes, kisses him on the cheek, and hits the tracker to basically signify to the audience she's bringing Ryan and the troops back in. You know, hope you'll forgive me for this, but you're going to be captured again.
Yeah, and it goes to the outside, and you see all these shadows move quickly into the room.
Right, but before Ryan can get there with the troops, the ninjas
just
get him. But shall we kill him? No, let Dad Ninja have the honor. Like they're all doing this, like the ring wraith speech or whatever.
Tongue thing going
right,
on. Yeah.
and so they take him away. And so when Ryan shows up with the troops at the hotel room, she basically says, 10 minutes ago, they took him. So
you just missed him.
You just missed him.
So I had a note here.
Even though, well, we won't reveal that.
I had a note here earlier on that scene in the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ninjas.
Yeah.
And apparently their bones are made out of nothing. Or their steel is some kind of unbelievable thing. But I'm like, how many ninjas are there? There's a lot of them.
There's at least 1,000 of them.
Yeah. I think it should just be like, if there's any missing children, just go to Ninja Land. Because they're all there.
They're all there.
I mean, there's no way that you can have that many without.
Honestly, everyone.
Because a whole bunch of them get killed.
Has a ninja in their family.
And then there must have been, 15 that go into that room to get him.
I don't know.
And then there's more ninjas back in Ninja Land.
Even more. There seems to be no end to them.
No end to them.
The Ninja Depot store.
Seriously.
And so the ninjas take Rizzo, who's, laying in the hotel, and they like FedEx him back to Dad Ninja and whatever. And like while he's in the box, he's like doing his ninja
hand.
Yeah, he's like doing all the hand gestures and healing up his wound across his stomach, starts to knit back together, and it's kind of crazy. When they get there, it's basically like time for an execution. I've been waiting for this. And Dad Ninja's got his grizzly scar across his face from when Rizzo cut him in one of his eyes.
Apparently he can't heal himself that way.
No, apparently not.
Yeah.
And so they've got Rizzo now tied to the post in the same way that Kiriko was all those years ago. And they're going to murder him. And he does the stupid belly button punch thing. I push your belly button in, which is apparently super painful. And he does it again.
To spit out blood.
Yeah, right. And then he does it a second time. And the second time he spits out blood, he spits out the tracker.
Then this was a plan all along.
Yes. That she put the tracker down his throat, or he was awake or in on it. I mean, I don't know.
But then it's like, if she gave him the tracker, how the heck did
Ryan not follow him?
How do you find her first? But yeah.
Right? Well, yeah, because Ryan came to the motel, and if he was following the tracker,
yeah, maybe they still had him on the roof at that point.
Yeah, we'll just say for the movie's sake that's what happened.
Or she gave him a call.
Or she called him on the cellular telephone. But as soon as the tracker is discovered, Takeshi's like, oh, dude, there's a tracking peanut in this guy's vomit, right? The cavalry is really bang, right? And like the timing could have been better.
I just loved it. A flashback to American Ninja with the African American guy on the big guns.
Yeah, it was kind of like the same vibe.
Much more clothing on, appropriately so, but that guy was like t-shirts.
Jackson.
Jackson.
I just thought it was funny because earlier in the movie, when Rika has her gun and Rizzo's like, oh, your gun's not enough. And then they just come busted in and just start shooting everything up. It's like, oh, these guns are enough.
These guns weren't. And the rocket launch. Maybe it's just like.
The rocket launcher was the best part. That made me laugh so bad.
Caught them by surprise, maybe? I don't know.
Rocket launcher
They had the element of surprise.
That's right.
Yeah. And
That's right.
Those Japanese houses are made out of paper practically, so that thing should have just gone right through and busted the mountain wall or something. But that was so awesome.
What made me think that Rizzo wasn't in on it, though, is because when she runs up to him, she's surprised that he knows because he says, just because he gets this weird line, just because I was asleep doesn't mean I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you're right. That's why I have the note. They should talk over plans.
Right?
But he was unconscious.
He was unconscious or whatever.
State or whatever.
But he heard her and, and he goes, and then, yes, I forgive you. Right. And so he heard her. And then the fight is on. And this, guys, was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, it was great.
It was so well. The two showdowns, the one with his big brother, Takeshi.
Yep.
So great.
Yeah.
So well done. And I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. Well, I feel like too many climaxes of action films are not done with the proper level of intensity to beget what had led up to that moment, right? Where they're too clean. It's too easy for the good guys. And the movies where there is just tons of intensity where it's hard. Like I love the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but by the end, it's like his suit's half ripped off. Like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, when they're literally hanging from a collapsed bridge, and with one hand they're holding on, with one hand they're fighting over the sack, and he's trying to rip his heart out, and it's just like this really intense. Half of his shirt is ripped off, and it's just they're sweating, and it's like the audience is right there, and they can feel the intensity, and the hero is really getting put through it.
I've never seen that movie. Fun fact.
Never seen Temple of Doom?
Nope.
Oh, you got to see it, man. I just wish more people would lean into the intensity more like that. And so I felt like this movie really did that. I mean, the point where he's fighting his older brother and the rocket hits the ceiling and there's like a collapsed log that's on fire that's like right between him. And it's like, so the face is lit up by the fire while they're going. I mean, it's just so cool.
I really liked this. The filming of the fire around the fighting scenes was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought it looked really nice.
Absolutely. And it's just a great showdown.
Yep.
And he says what does his older brother says? Do you still think about her?
Oh, yeah. I have that line written.
Right? What else did he say?
The older brother says that?
Yeah. Takashi says, do you still think of it? Do you remember the sound she made when I stuck her?
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, that's so rude.
I was like, when I heard it though, I'm like, out of all the words, like you could have used stuck. And then I didn't rewind the movie to go look, but I'm like, I don't remember her making an audible noise.
I don't remember either.
I don't know.
But still, why do bad guys always got to speak such nonsense at the worst time?
That's such a cheap shot.
Like you just ruined your entire life. Like at that point, it was pretty even. After you said that, he destroyed
you. Were dead. Oh yeah.
Like, why do bad guys always do that? I don't understand. Because they're bad and dumb. They're both of those things. When he's able to dispatch of his older brother,
evil makes you
in
stupid.
A really horrific way. Like he wraps the chain of what's it called? Those
I
don't remember the.
Here's the actual word
of the weapon.
I'm gonna murder this, but kusarigama. Kusarigama.
Okay, is the weapon that he basically gets it wrapped around his neck and pulls it until he almost stabs himself with it.
Oh yeah, that was
in the neck, right for the older brother.
That was great death.
Yeah.
Did you have something?
I don't remember.
Okay, no, that's fine. If you do, just stop me.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
But then he finds his father, right? And you're like, oh, it's not. But like,
and he's walking down the hallway that he used to get his feet whipped on.
I thought he would have learned his lesson on that one.
But I love that he just destroyed the floor.
Destroy the floor at that point.
Like just out of rage.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. That was a cool shot, just the way that it did.
Yes.
Him using his kunai with chain thing.
But it's funny to me, like he thinks he's gonna walk in here and mop the floor with Dad, but Dad's got like that old man strength, and just like smacks him around. He's like, "What's up, little kid?" just like smacks him, or like, "I can disappear. I didn't teach you how to do that." Right? He's just like, kind of shockingly to me, just beating the crap out of him.
I was surprised at how that fight went. I thought it would be easier for him to kill him.
Right.
I was thinking like Vader and Obi-Wan at the end in New Hope, right?
Right.
But that's
now the student has become the master.
Like how you talked about before with action movies, they make it seem like, you know, the hero always has to win fairly easily against the old mentor, but it's like,
no. It was great, and the way the filmmaking here, like we said, Charles, really shines.
Yes.
right? They're not trying to do a grounded story or a realistic thing. I mean, it's so clearly stylized like comic book panels. Like when you've got the shot where they're at each end of the frame and there's a fire between them.
That was one of my favorite shots of the film.
And then it cuts to like the hilt of the sword that's slightly pulled out with blood dripping down it. And it's like they're clearly going for a very heightened stylistic comic book graphic novel feel. And I was here for it.
Yes, I agree.
Like I was like, it was so visually beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, my favorite shot was when they show the paper wall and you just see the shadows of them.
Yeah.
And the big long katana he has.
Yes.
And he's holding his hand up on it. Like,
and the blood is just splattering and they come crashing through it. That's another great moment too.
Yeah.
And ultimately he like Uno reverse cards his dad and does the belly button punch to his dad, right? And just like, now I'm going to push your belly button.
Oh, and
in.
he also can travel. He can disappear.
Well, this is so he goes eventually. He goes full dad mode, right? He's like, he gets so angry that he says, or he starts doing the things that dad was doing earlier in the fight. That almost to say like, I've become you now, right? Because he starts doing all of dad's moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we skipped over this, but his dad, when he first sees him, he's like, you were the one with the most potential. You were supposed to take my spot.
Right.
And then at that moment was almost like he did, but obviously he's not evil. But
no, but he's basically is now the last one left, and he is the head of the clan that no longer exists essentially. But yeah, that's great. And I think by the time I just love it. The score in that moment, the music in that moment adds everything. It was so intense. And by the time he walks out of that place, that shot of him walking out of there and he's like singed and cut up and bleeding, it's just incredible. That's like, I love that in those movies where the hero is like, I just love it. It's good. And I understand it's personal preference on my part, but.
And Mika comes, he's about to be killed, and Mika comes and shoots.
Yes.
And then she gets stabbed
by dad.
She gets killed
through the chest.
Which
I think is thank you for remembering, because that's the moment he goes into dad mode and starts to use all dad's moves against him when he seemingly kills Mika.
Yeah, she ends up saving his life.
She saves his life. Yep. He carries her out, and then she's alive.
Right, because
she has flippy hearty disease. Which
like her heart is special.
Her heart is special, which I thought was a great callback to the beginning of the movie.
Absolutely. She got stabbed on the wrong side. And even the paramedic's like, why is she, the hole's right through her heart. She should be, and she just reaches, my heart's over here.
Yeah, and he's like, Rise was like, she has special heart.
And I really thought it was a poignant. The film ends with him basically going to the same wall that Kariko climbing
up. The wall.
And he climbs the wall
line
himself.
There, which I didn't copy, but he says, when I kill you, I'll take my first breath of life or something.
Yeah, it'll be the first breath of my life I've ever taken. Yeah, that's a great line too.
Good line, yeah.
The more I go through this, the more I'm remembering how much it was.
He was looking at too.
Oh yeah,
Ninja School picked a nice spot to do there.
It's like that moment where he realized what she saw, the moment she stepped over the wall, and what she meant when she said life was on the other side. And really, so this is his life starting now that his dad was gone, and that's why he chose, I think, symbolically to go over the wall like that. So I thought that was really well done. So that was the movie. That's Ninja Assassin. And so as we always do, you guys, we are going to give this movie some awards. But before we do that, if there's anything on your notepads, anything that you missed or things in the background that you noticed, now is the chance to go through the little things.
I have two that come to mind immediately. Okay. One of them is the Volkswagen in the beginning is the EOS convertible.
Oh.
Which is a very cool convertible because it's one of the few hardtop convertibles in the world.
Okay.
There's a problem, though, is that it switches cars later in the movie to a different kind of Volkswagen.
Well, normal nerds would notice that. Only car nerds would.
The other thing, and this is a what are those called? Like an after-school special public health announcement.
Public health advisor, yeah.
If you are stabbed with something, do not remove it until you can get proper medical care.
Unless you have ninja powers.
Because he removes that ninja star, and he did not have anything to
No.
He should have been in a
But they can suck their blood in by just clenching their butts, cheeks together, or whatever it is they do.
Make sure you work up to that. Cut your hand first and things before you assume that you can control
terrible
your blood.
advice.
So, no, that's right. Cut your arm. Cut your arm. Don't cut your hand because you don't know if you can't heal, then you're in trouble. So those are my two little things.
Any little things for you, Joe?
Yeah, I have a couple things. One good and one not so good. But, well, I think one's good. And the way I wrote it on my notes was funny. So throughout the movie, any type of projectile being thrown or like with his chain weapon being, spun around, how it has like this crazy CGI motion blur, almost like jet stream behind it.
Yes.
And basically how I wrote on my notes, I said to describe it is just chef's kiss.
Love it. That was great the way they did that. Yeah.
There's a moment too where that the Kurosawa thing comes up into the screen. I was wondering if this was maybe 3D.
I don't know when it came out. Possibly because it almost did that like effect, right?
Yeah. I wondered if it was in that 3D era.
Huh.
Yep. And then I was wondering if you had noticed, James, your favorite sword style being used at the
very end, which I was okay with the underhand blade because it was just to stab him.
Oh, he did it. He was literally fighting guys like that.
Was he? I didn't see.
He was. Okay.
Oh, I wouldn't have hated it. I'm so glad I didn't notice.
You don't like the underhand?
No, it's not plausible.
Okay.
It's not effective at all.
Not effective at all. Yeah. And it was a guy on TikTok that ruined it for me. There's a sword guy on TikTok
he's like
teaches all these different kinds of sword fighting techniques, and he's a really cool guy. And he's done a few videos on how every time he sees underhanded sword fighting in films, how dumb it is and what would actually happen if someone was doing it.
Yeah, and you mentioned it in American Ninja.
I did. Because he did it. Well, he exclusively fought underhanded, like everything. And I think the fact that I just hated that character made me even more upset.
The bad dad death was pretty gruesome now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah. It was awful.
Literally just went.
So it's weird in this movie how, like, you can have people's arms and legs and stuff flying off, and you're like, okay. And then there's, like, some more moments, like the feet thing and the stabbing and pulling him apart. That's much more gruesome for some reason. I don't know why that is.
As always, we're going to give some awards to these films because clearly Ninja Assassin did not get any. We're going to give it its flowers now because at the time it came out, it was shut out of everything. So the first award that we give is for intensity. This is called the Will Patton Award for intensity. It's not necessarily to the best actor in the movie, but just the one that brought the most intensity, like the namesake Will Patton. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. Who is your Will Patton Award nominee?
You're going to have to go to somebody else because I forgot the Will Patton Award.
Oh, okay. For me, I did Dad Ninja.
Dad Ninja?
Yeah. I thought it takes a special type of intensity to spend a good majority of the movie beating children.
Yeah, I can't argue with that choice because I was going back and forth between two.
I would go with that choice. Actually.
You're good. Okay, so
yeah, he was pretty intense.
Okay, so I have no problem with giving it to Sho.
Who was your other one? Did you have
Sho Kosugi? Yeah, so my actual nominee was Rain.
Okay,
really? Thought his intensity, especially in those fight scenes, especially at the end, was palpable. But I was going back and forth between him and Sho Kosugi, so I'm not going to argue with that. We can give it to him for the Will Patton Award, well deserved for Ozuna, the Dad Ninja. The next award we give out is our Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award, which is an acting award given to the person whose performance was most akin to a trash can full of dirt, a.k.a. the worst actor in the movie. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I like this actor in other things they did, but I just wasn't thrilled with Naomi Harris's performance in this movie.
Okay.
And so I picked Mika as... And I honestly didn't think Ryan. I think both the Interpol agents were playing it too big, and the rest of the film, I just didn't feel. I almost gave it to Han for that first scene, Hollywood. And if that's the direction you guys went, I won't argue with you. But just didn't love Naomi Harris's performance in this. What do you guys think?
Okay, so to make this interesting, I'm going to stick with what I picked.
Okay, go for it.
Rizzo is my trash can.
Really?
Yeah.
Rain.
I had that too.
Rain.
Yeah.
Guys, I thought he was really good.
This is where it's 54% on fans.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I didn't. it's weird because I thought he was okay, but I don't think he was. I think he was of the actors. I think he was the worst.
I think if you went back and looked, and I'm not trying to just convince you of my opinion, but I really think if you pay attention to the subtlety of his performance, I think it is different than what Dudikoff did.
I would agree, but if we're talking this movie and the other actors around him, I don't think he quite pulled it off.
Okay. I don't think necessarily silence means
I would agree
bad,
with you.
But
I'm looking at this movie and everyone
that's fine.
else in it. I got.
If you both nominate him, then we'll give Rain the Trash Can Full of Dirt award.
Let me explain my take on it too.
Yeah.
And he's a ninja movie guy.
Because my thing with this movie and what I think could have been done with this movie and would have trajected it even to be better than what it is. Right. The fact that the movie is in English is what I think hurts it.
Okay.
That's interesting because I was like, is this dubbed or are they speaking English?
No, they spoke English. They shot it in English. Yeah.
So because I think of like some of the best martial arts movies I've watched. Yeah. They're subtitled.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why they couldn't do that is just because the sheer different nationalities of people the main characters were.
Right.
You know, you'd have Rain speaking Korean while you'd have other people speaking Japanese.
Naomi was English. The other guy was British.
Right.
They all speak English, but then the other guy was German.
Yeah. And so I think that limited the movie. It's like I like the fact that they had so many different nations represented, but I feel like trying to force them all to learn and speak English, or if they already knew English, but it's obvious that it wasn't their first language.
I got you.
That's an interesting point, because I did think about that as I'm watching this going, I don't feel like this movie should be in English. So maybe you're right on that.
Our top 3 performers is the next award that we give out. And so this is just a subjective award for you. Not saying objectively these were the best, but for you, your top 3 that you enjoyed. So I'll go first. My number 3, I had Kylie Page, who played Kiriko, the younger Kiriko. I thought she was great. I had Rain at number 2, even though you guys have them as your trash can full of dirt award winners. And then number 1, I had Sho Kosugi. I thought gave the best performance, which was Dad Ninja in the movie. What do you guys think?
So I had Kylie Leah Page, the young girl, as 3. I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
June Lee, the young Rain.
Okay.
I thought he was really good too.
Okay.
And then I actually have Naomi Harris as number 1.
How about that? So my trash can full of dirt.
So
how much we disagreed on that.
I thought she was probably the most natural. Her acting felt the most natural to me.
Oh, well, I thought it was so over the top.
No, I thought it was good.
Interesting.
So
that's funny.
So for my third one, I have a tie. I don't know if that's allowed.
It's allowed. Most people I can't usually get guys to pick 3 humans for theirs. Like they want to pick cars and inanimate objects. So go for it.
Mainly for one particular reason why they're tied.
Okay.
Both actors that played the child and teenage Rizzo, I thought were better than Rain actually was. So I figured that would justify them both being at number 3.
You guys are so wrong.
We have flabbergasted James.
You guys are so wrong.
He's like, what are these people? Why do I have these people on this podcast?
No, it's fine. I'm in the minority. So I'm interested to hear from our listeners. If you guys watch the movie and then send us me, I'm interested to know if I'm really in the minority here on Rain. This show is trash at gmail.com.
Right. There you go.
Go ahead.
So for my number 2, I put, I hope I don't mispronounce her name, but Anna Sawai, who played the teenage Kiriko.
Yeah.
And then number 1.
That's who I meant to say. Did I say the wrong person?
Well, you said her child.
Oh, I meant the teenage one, so I'll go with you there, yeah.
So number 1, strictly
that's who I went
for bias sake, I said Sung Kang, who is Han from Fast and Furious.
That's your number 1?
Yeah.
You just invalidated your entire list.
No, I don't know about that. That guy.
He was the best.
The best?
Also, you reminded me of a thing that we do on this show every once in a while is inanimate objects. So I could also be convinced that the bullets from the first scenes with the ninjas could also be trash can full of dirt, because apparently they cannot kill ninjas.
They can't kill ninjas, but the other ones can. So we have a couple of quick questions that we ask before we sign off for today. And so the first one is, to take final stock, what's the final verdict? It's marrying the objective with the subjective. Is this a bad movie that's just straight up bad? Is it a bad movie that rules? Or is it a straight up good movie, Charles? The time for a decision is here.
So I'm actually a little surprised. I was thinking coming into this, I was going to say it was a bad movie that rules.
Okay.
I don't know if I would watch this movie again because it's not a genre that I'm like, oh, this is awesome, I want to watch.
Yeah.
But I think I'll say this is a good movie.
Wow.
I think I'll go there.
Okay.
Now I would watch this with other people.
Yeah, certainly.
Like guys
Certainly.
or my sons and his buddies, or which maybe I shouldn't because he's old.
Sure.
But other guys or other people in a group, it could be a fun movie to watch.
Sure.
Oh, I thought I expressed this at the beginning, but I think this is just a good movie, hard stop.
A straight up good movie, hard stop. Okay.
Yeah, and I will probably buy this movie.
Yeah, talking about it has made me go from bad movie rules to good movie.
Yeah, I want to say it's a good movie. I think the hard thing with this question is you have to try and be objective and then subjective, right? And I think there are some things script-wise that maybe hold it back from being a good movie, even though I like it. So that's what makes me think like it's right on the border. And I want to say, I'm saying like it's a bad movie that rules because subjectively I thought it was awesome. I was surprised how much by the end of the movie I was like, I would buy this. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Especially after that last scene, I was like, this is amazing. So I can't give it a better endorsement. I loved the movie. But is it objectively good? That's the thing I struggle with. Do you know what I'm saying?
I would agree. That's where I'm sort of between.
Yeah.
I went with good, but I could
So
also
I could
go.
I could honestly be pushed in either direction.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, I'm kind of on the board. But because I always give people a hard time, like, make a decision. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say bad movie that rules, but I
think
could
that's fair.
easily be shoved into the other
It's
the
like
other way.
it's
Pretty
like
much where I am too.
it's like at the ceiling of bad movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on that line.
Yeah. As I absolutely love. If you're just asking me my subjective opinion, I'd say it's a good movie. But that's not really what the question is.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I probably won't watch it again, but I thought it was. I enjoyed watching.
Sure.
It, and as we've talked about it, I thought it's pretty entertaining. It's got some really cool moments.
You know what would be even more entertaining?
Oh yeah, I was waiting for this.
If Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this movie.
Where in the world would you put Arnold Schwarzenegger
So
in this movie?
this question, I think about this question every episode I listen to, and there are a couple episodes where it's not mentioned,
Yes.
and then I will then text James
Yes.
and be like, "You forgot," and this is who
Sometimes
he'd be better.
it's a time thing,
Yeah.
right?
Arnold,
But yeah.
where would you put Arnold?
Well, he could be all the way from a smaller part to
Yeah.
like the Gestapo guy that comes in,
Yep.
like to be like, you have the book in your pocket, like you'd be that
could
guy.
do that because he could be intimidated a different way.
And maybe you could make that a little bit of a bigger part.
Oh, he could totally have been. Sorry,
He could have been the Kingpin guy.
Yes, that's where I was going.
Yeah, totally that guy.
He could have just been a older ninja that was a child.
What about Alexei? Alexei, the guy that gets killed by the ninjas,
Yeah.
the Russian KGB agent.
He could be Alexi.
What if Arnold was Dad Ninja?
Then it would definitely be a bad.
You
movie.
said they didn't care about nationalities and that they
Yeah,
took
what if-
people from all over the place. What if
That's
he was
true.
the older brother?
Yeah, what if he?
He's just
Could
not
you imagine?
flexible enough.
Could you imagine Arnold, but they changed his name to Takashi?
I'm saying the question is not would it be, I mean, just would it make it better than it is,
No.
right? And I think if you put him in, not as Dad Ninja, but in one of those other parts, even if it's 1% better, it does make it better.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think if I think the Kingpin could actually be legit.
That would have been a
because
good cameo.
That
Yeah.
Kingpin guy, he doesn't seem.
No, but if Arnold gets
But
stabbed in the neck,
Arnold- yes,
you'd be like, I believe he's not
He's
dead.
got extra. Yeah, he's got extra arteries that can compensate.
I would,
for that,
I would
right?
have
You know,
believed
be like-
if he tried to stab Arnold in the neck and the knife broke.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it didn't go deep enough because his muscles are. So
This is the guy you sent me on my first kill
Yeah.
to kill this
that
guy?
Would definitely
See?
made this a
There you
better
go.
movie. Arnold.
Well, Joe, I just want to say thank you for coming in. I hope it's not the last time that we see you.
Oh, I hope I come back.
I hope so too, man. This was great having you in here. And maybe next time the universe and the everything will line up to have two Joes in the
Two
room.
Joes.
Either that or at least have
God
Bob.
willing. We'll have
love-
Bob.
I want to have a conversation with Bob.
We'll get Bob in here. We'll get Joe in
Joes.
here. We'll have two Joes and a Bob.
Bob and Joe show.
it'll be great. It'll be great. God willing. We'll see if we can make that happen. But thank you. And Charles, thank you again for coming. It's always a pleasure every
I
time
enjoyed
that
it.
you're in here.
It's fun to watch a movie that's outside of my wheelhouse.
Well, next time we'll have you do another Costner one so it feels more normal.
Yeah, that
so
would be good. Comfort zone.
or Iron Eagle 3.
I don't know, man.
I'm sure my next
That
one will
one
probably
might send
be.
me to the crazy.
I'm sure my next one will probably be another martial arts one.
All right, that's fine too. Join us, guys. Thank you for listening. Join us for our next episode, which is a quick return to John Carpenter. Our last episode, we were talking about a John Carpenter movie with Big Trouble in Little China, and now our next episode is Escape from L.A. Will I be able to escape the studio without upsetting my brother Bob, who is a big fan of this movie?
Never seen that movie either.
What I would give to be a fly on the wall.
We will see. But thank you for joining us. Again, we're on Patreon. If you could help us out, we're making the push towards a new place. We would greatly appreciate that. But we just appreciate that you're here. You're all the way at the end. You're one of our diehards. And that's who we made the Patreon page for, to give you guys some extra content. So hit us up. We'd love to see you guys on there. In the meantime, I'm James Hauser on behalf of Charles Hewitt and Joe Bernhardt. Thank you for listening. I just have one point I wanted one of the ninjas to say. I will honor the code, Father.
It is the way.
It is the way.